All right, today we're going to take a look at the men's and women's MAC basketball tournaments, the quarterfinal matches for the Toledo Rockets men's and women's teams. First of all, we're going to go to the women's side of the bracket, and number 1 seed Toledo will be taking on the number 8 seed Buffalo. This is on Wednesday at 11 a.m. If the Rockets win, they will move on to the semifinals where they would take on the winner of 4th seeded Kent State versus 5th seeded Northern Illinois. That game would be on Friday at 10 a.m. So first, looking at this quarterfinal matchup here, I want to give a little bit of a prediction, my prediction for the game. Toledo 25-4, 16-2 in the MAC. They played Buffalo in the regular season, and of course they beat them. This is a game that, Toledo should easily win. It is MAC tournament. So whenever you get into the tournament, teams tend to play better and it could be a tougher game. But I really expect the Rockets to win this game. So, just yesterday, Quenisha Lockett was named MAC Player of the Year. Trisha Cullop, the MAC Coach of the Year. And, this is going to be a good test for them against a team that they should win, but it's going to be a good test in the sense of it's been a few days since they played. They played a really tough stretch at the end of the regular season. They had Kent State, Ball State, Bowling Green all late in the season, of course, finishing against Bowling Green, beating them to win the outright MAC regular season title and number 1 seed. And a lot of, very emotional, draining games there late. So this is a good game that's going to be a good, solid test, but definitely a team that they should be able to beat. And that's a good way to get started in the MAC tournament before you have to go into the semifinal game, which is going to be, a much tougher game. Kent State is an interesting team. They're solid. They're not, great. Toledo beat them, of course, in the regular season. And then you got Northern Illinois as the number 5 seed, who did beat Toledo once. They also beat Ball State and Bowling Green once during the regular season, but then they had games that they didn't play as well. So that'll be an interesting matchup there, 4th and 5th seeded teams between Kent State and Northern Illinois. And of course, you have Bowling Green and Ball State as the number 2 and number 3 seeds would likely win their quarterfinal game and play against each other in the semifinals. So going back to Toledo, like I said, they should beat Buffalo. I'm going to say it's going to be about a 10 to 15 point victory. One of those games probably will be a little closer early on in the game. And then, the Rockets will just wear down the Bulls and take control, especially in the second half. So that's my prediction for the quarterfinal matchup for the women's. Now let's go over to the men's side of the bracket. And of course, the Rockets, the number 1 seed, and they will take on the number 8 seed, Miami University. This is on Thursday in the quarterfinals. Ball State is in the number 4 seed and will take on the number 5 seed, Ohio. And if Toledo beats Miami, they would play the winner of that game in the semifinals. That's going to be an interesting game because Ball State has some injury questions right now, and Ohio has been playing much better down the stretch. Ball State hasn't played quite as well as they did early on in the conference season. So that game is really hard to predict. If you look at paper, you're going to say Ball State's going to win that game, but I'm thinking that Ohio has a pretty good chance. Either way, Toledo still has to get past Miami University. This is a team that they've played twice in the regular season. They won a close game at Miami, and then at home they won a much better game. I think they won by like 13 points. So neutral court, right, in Cleveland. Toledo's been playing great. They've won 15 straight. They're shooting the ball well from the foul line, 3-point line, just about anywhere on the field, really. They've been doing a good job rebounding, sticking up at least with the other team and being pretty even in rebounding. And their defense has been much better than it was early in the year. Ray J. Dennis, he should be MAC Player of the Year. We'll see what happens here when it's announced. It hasn't been announced yet. But he should be the MAC Player of the Year, and I really think Coach Todd Kowalczyk should be the MAC Coach of the Year. And if that happens, both the men's and women's and the MAC Coach of the Year and Player of the Year would come from Toledo. That would be a pretty interesting feat. So to go back to it, Ray J. Dennis, I expect him to really lead this team in the MAC tournament, and especially in this quarterfinal game. There's so many guys that can score on this team and will do well, but he's really the team goes by Ray J. Dennis. He's so good. He passes very well. He knows when he needs to go and score for the team. He's just a complete player, and he's going to be the difference. And I think this is a game that Toledo's probably going to jump out early. And if they're shooting well, they're going to jump out early, and it's not going to be that close of a contest. I'm going to predict that this is going to be between a 15 to 20 point victory, and they'll be in good shape going into the semifinals, where they'll play against either Ball State or Ohio University. So those are my predictions here for the quarterfinal matchups for the men's and women's basketball team.